Welcome to this modernised reading of In Tune with the Infinite by Raph Waldo Trine. Before we begin, I want to give full respect to Raph Waldo Trine and his original work. This book is in the public domain, which means I'm able to share it freely, but still with deep appreciation for the timeless wisdom he left behind. What you're about to hear is a different kind of audiobook. It's something I originally created for myself as part of my own study. I've been working to internalize and actually live these teachings, and for me, the best way to do that is through repetition. Reading them, then writing them, then speaking them, and sharing them, and most importantly, applying them. This audiobook grew naturally out of that process. I've reworded most of the text into more modern, conversational language so that it's easier for a listener like me, and maybe like you, to absorb and apply. Trine's wisdom is timeless, but sometimes the older style of writing can feel a bit dense or harder to follow, at least in my experience. My intention isn't to replace or dilute his voice, but to make the ideas clearer and more accessible while staying faithful to the spirit and rhythm of his writing. Some sections you'll hear are exactly as Trine wrote them, since he has so many quotes I'd never want to change. Others I've simplified for clarity, and in a few places I've added my own reflections or drawn connections to other teachings that have helped me understand these ideas more deeply. These ideas are simply my interpretations. They may not reflect what the author originally intended. If you want his exact words, there are many free editions and audiobooks online that I definitely recommend exploring. But you can trust that this audiobook doesn't steer too far from the original. And if you happen to read the physical book alongside this audio, you'll notice that the structure matches almost paragraph for paragraph, with the only differences being the moments where I step in to add a personal insight or a gentle connection to another idea. Nothing essential has been removed, only reworded where it helps the message shine through more clearly. Trine's message is simple but profound, that the infinite, Spirit, God, the Absolute, the One Life, isn't something outside of us, but the very essence of our being. He writes with conviction that our inner state shapes our world, our health, our happiness, and our conditions. Naturally, as you listen, you may find that some ideas seem to contradict what you've learned from other traditions or teachings, and that's completely fine. You don't have to throw anything away. Just set it aside for now and let these ideas stand on their own. Later, you can come back and see where everything fits together in your own experience. After all, true freedom comes from letting go of our attachments and aversions, even to spiritual ideas, so we can see more clearly, with less resistance and more openness, and actually transform our lives. You don't need to become a mystic or disappear into the mountains to access the infinite. All you need is a willingness to listen freshly and let the ideas speak directly to you. From time to time, I'll bring in more scientific perspectives, particularly neuroscience, to show that much of what Trine wrote isn't just poetic philosophy, but a real, living science of mind and being that is just as applicable today as it was when he wrote it. My hope is that this version helps you to tune even more deeply into that infinite presence within you, the same power that shapes your body, your circumstances, and your destiny. With that said, let's begin. In tune with the infinite, or fullness of peace, power and plenty, by Raph Waldo Trine, published in 1897. A message from the author. We live in strange and testing times, times that measure the strength of men and women. Bewilderment and fear touch many hearts. Uncertainty seems to hang in the air across every land. Yet those who keep their courage and move forward with calm confidence always find a way. Those who give in to fear or sink into hopelessness cannot. The world today is in great need of courage, real, living courage. I'm reminded of something a college friend once said. It's a good thing for anyone to have a philosophy of life. He was a humble man, working through his studies against great odds, yet he carried a quiet strength and a goodly philosophy that sustained him. Yes, I told him, if that philosophy has the element of use. I had read much in the philosophies of earlier and present times, and had come to see that too often they held little real value because they lacked practical application in the everyday affairs of life. Every one of us meets our own set of challenges. We all need help, and none of us can escape that need, especially in a period like the one we find ourselves in now. During recent years, I've often told friends that perhaps no quality is more needed in our world than courage. Not the loud kind, but the steady, creative kind. The courage that holds a clear vision and persists. For every thought of courage brings strength, and every thought of fear drains it away. Thoughts are living forces. They shape the course of our lives according to their kind. There is a great power in the universe that responds to fearless thought. It upholds the stars and sustains the brave and upright. Courage has power and magic in it. Hope and faith, joined with courage, are creative powers, and if we live in their spirit, we cannot fail. When this book was first written, I chose for its keynote a simple sentence. The moment we fully and vitally realize what we are, we begin to build our own world, even as God builds his. That, in truth, is the essence of this work. The great need of the world today is not more knowledge, but clearer realization. We must come to know, not merely believe intellectually, that all life is one life, that the same infinite spirit animates every soul. When we live in that awareness, our personal lives become channels through which the divine life can freely flow. This was the understanding of the Master Jesus of Nazareth. He knew the life within him was the life of the Father, and that the same life flows through every man and woman. As I am, you shall be, he said. His consciousness of the one life was his wisdom and his power. It is through that same life that we find renewal, harmony and freedom. As we open ourselves to its inflow, we help to bring harmony to our world. Harmony instead of discord, cooperation instead of division, creative expression instead of destruction. And though the hour may seem dark, we are not without hope, for the power that made the stars and keeps them in their courses still lives and moves within us. If we keep our courage and faith, we cannot fail. This, then, is the supreme message of our time, that we are not separate from the infinite, but expressions of it. That by realizing this truth, we enter into the peace and strength of the eternal. If we each do our part, if we live in the consciousness of this power and allow it to express itself through us, we shall help to bring about a new order of life on earth, one of love, cooperation, and peace. Introduction. There is a golden thread that runs through every religion and through the lives and teachings of all prophets, sages, and great men and women of truly great and lasting power. Everything they achieved was done in harmony with universal law, and what one has done, all may do. This same golden thread must enter the lives of all who, in today's busy, working world, wish to exchange weakness for power, suffering for health and strength, pain and unrest for perfect peace, and any form of poverty for fullness and plenty. Each person is building their own world. We build from within, and we attract from without. Thought is the force with which we build, for thoughts are real forces. Like builds like, and like attracts like. The more spiritual our thoughts become, the more subtle and powerful they are in their workings. This spiritualizing of thought follows law and is within the reach of all. Everything is first worked out in the unseen before it is manifested in the seen, in the ideal before it is realized in the real, in the spiritual before it appears in the material. The unseen realm is the realm of cause. The seen realm is the realm of effect. The nature of the effect is always determined and shaped by the nature of its cause. The author's purpose is to point out the great facts and laws behind the workings of the inner spiritual thought forces, to explain them so simply and clearly that even a child can understand. His aim is to make them so plain that all can grasp them, use them, and bring them into daily life, shaping it in every detail according to what they desire. That life can be moulded in this way is not a matter of theory for him, but of certain knowledge. There is a divine order running through the universe. Within, above, and below the human will, the divine will is always working. To come into harmony with it, and so with all the higher laws and forces, to work in league and in conjunction with them, so that they can work in league and in conjunction with us, is to join the chain of this wonderful sequence. This is the secret of all success. This is to come into the possession of unknown riches and undreamed of powers. Within yourself lies the cause of everything that enters your life. To come into full awareness of your own awakened inner powers is to be able to shape your life exactly as you would have it. Prelude. The optimist is right. The pessimist is right. They differ as light differs from darkness, yet both are right. Each is right from their own point of view, and this point of view is the determining factor in the life of each. It determines if it's a life of power or weakness, peace or pain, success or failure. The optimist has the power of seeing things in their entirety and in their right relations. The pessimist sees only from a narrow, one-sided view. The understanding of the optimist is brightened by wisdom. The understanding of the pessimist is darkened by ignorance. Each person builds their world from within, and the result depends entirely on their point of view. The optimist, through clearer insight and wiser vision, is creating his own heaven, and in the degree that he does so, he helps to create a heaven for the world around him. They contribute not by preaching light, but by embodying it. The pessimist, through his own limitations, is creating his own hell, and in the degree that he does so, is he helping to make one for all mankind. One is like staring at a single cloud and declaring that the day is stormy. The other remembers the vast sky that holds both light and rain. You and I carry within us the dominant traits of either the optimist or the pessimist. Every hour we are shaping either our own heaven or our own hell, and to the extent that we shape one or the other for ourselves, we help to shape it for the world as well. The word heaven means harmony. The word hell comes from the Old English helan, meaning to build a wall around, to separate, to cover and hide. To be held was to be shut off from something. Hell isn't punishment, it's protection that's turned into a prison. It means to be trapped within the fortress of the ego, a self-built wall. Once upon a time, the wall was useful. It kept you safe from rejection, shame, or loss. It gave you an identity to defend. But the moment you started to believe that the wall was you became trapped in your own fortress. Now, if there is such a thing as harmony, there must be that something with which one can be in right relation with, because to be in right relation with anything is to be in harmony with it. In the same way, if there is such a thing to be held off from, there must be such a thing from which one is held, shut off, or separated from. Heaven, then, is not a place in the hereafter. It is not postponement of good, not some far-off day in the future when we've worked hard enough to deserve it, or when we've succeeded somehow in making ourselves ready or good enough. Nor is it a glittering gate community in the clouds, some distant reward for moral living. Heaven is a state of being. It is a present realization, a state of harmony realized here and now. Imagine yourself as an orchestra. When your inner strings, emotions, percussion, actions, and brass, thoughts, are aligned with the conductor, the infinite intelligence, harmony emerges. That's heaven. You feel light, at ease, capable. Things just work. You're not pushing, you're allowing. You're in tune with the infinite, as Trine would say. To live in this harmony is to bring heaven to earth. And in exactly the same way, hell is not some fiery pit of eternal suffering after death. It is the state of ignorance and separation that brings suffering here and now. To know this truth and to live in its realization is not to wait for heaven hereafter, but to live in heaven today and every day. Tony Robbins teaches that emotion is a habit. If you make happiness conditional on future events, no matter how spiritual, you train your nervous system to keep it forever out there in the future. In a similar sense, the word sin has been greatly misunderstood. In its original Greek form, to sin means to miss the mark, as an archer who fails to strike the target. To sin, therefore, is to miss the purpose of human life, to live unskillfully, blindly, and so to suffer and to bring suffering to others. To sin is to forget who you are. To repent is to turn back towards harmony. Freed from its distortions and cultural weight, the word simply points to the state of inner disharmony, the separation from our true nature that lies at the root of the human condition. When you remember your unity with the infinite, you stop missing the mark. You start living skillfully, in the flow of divine intelligence, rather than against it.